Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to our podcast and the first episode of the podcast Tea and...
Tofu.
Yeah, so my name's Dee.
My name is Bruce.
And we are a multicultural family and I'm from England.
I'm from China.
And we are currently living in Bruce's hometown in rural Henan province. And we've been living here since December. Okay. So, do you want to introduce what we're going to be talking about today?
We're going to talk about how we met and how we get married.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about our story, how we met, how we got married, and we now have a little boy. So, we met in, do you remember the year?
2019.
Yeah, we met in 2019 and we met in Wuhan, China.
I was studying jewelry design and I make my own jewelry. Now I'm running a bespoke jewelry business.
Yeah, you can check us out on Instagram. I'll tag his business below actually. So, you were studying in university. I was teaching in a training centre. So we met at the end of 2019 basically, and we started dating pretty quickly. And then it was coming up to Chinese New Year, and then what happened?
I invited Dee to my hometown and gonna spend the time for New Year, Chinese New Year.
Yeah, so this was my first time kind of like meeting a Chinese family anyway and spending time with like a Chinese family. In Wuhan, I'd been in such a foreigner bubble. I spent most of my time with foreigners or with like the Chinese people who worked at the training centre so they could speak English. And I was just kind of used to that. So I didn't really know what to expect when I went to Bruce's hometown. But of course, everyone remembers what happened in 2020. How can you not? And Bruce's hometown is in Henan, which is right next to Hubei, which is where COVID began.
Yeah.
So when we were actually on the bus on the way to his hometown, we got a message. Do you remember what the message said?
So the city gonna lock down.
From
tomorrow.
Wasn't it like midnight or something?
Yeah.
Midnight, yeah. We both got it because we were both in Wuhan, and it literally just said, yeah, what he just said, that the city's going to be locked down, and no one really knew what that meant at the time because none of us had any precedent for that. But yeah, that's a kind of another story. But what happened was we arrived in Bruce's hometown, and then quarantine began.
Yeah. We only planned for staying in my hometown for 7 days. Then we go back to Wuhan, but the quarantine lasts 3 months.
But I think I was there for 4 months.
Yeah, 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months that I was in the hometown. So Bruce has a huge family, so I was kind of thrown into the deep end of my Chinese was even worse than it is now. It was like nothing. And also your family speak dialect. So again, it was starting from beginning. And I was just around all these people that I couldn't communicate with at all. And we were also locked inside a tiny apartment together, right?
Yeah.
But we somehow managed to get along really well. Like what was your thoughts on that time period?
Most time we had to stay inside, obviously. And so every day we just sleep and eat. My parents are good at cooking.
Yeah.
So we're cooking something Dee likes, something I like.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Yeah. But what did you think about the fact that like I was there and I couldn't communicate with anybody? Like what were your thoughts on that?
That was fine because I can translate everything.
Yeah.
There's no communication problem. So we have to be together all the time. I can't leave her to go get the groceries because she's scared to stay with my parents by herself.
Was that quite intense for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw you can just stay in the bedroom and just chill, but you couldn't.
I think it's being like, that's kind of being like locked away, you know? That makes me feel awkward to be locked away in a bedroom while everyone's outside. But then when you weren't there, it was like really awkward because I don't know these people and I couldn't get to know them because I can't communicate with them. So that's why I really heavily like relied on you at that point in the relationship.
Yeah.
And we kind of barely knew each other. So it wasn't easy for either of us, I think. I think I didn't really know what I was getting myself in for. I think if it had been the 7 days, it would have been easier. But because we were together for a very long time, it was difficult. But I think we found a way in the end. Like, the more time I was there, the less awkward I felt.
Yeah.
The less anxious I was. And the more your family just kind of accepted me. And we just got along quite well. And I remember your mom watching the TV shows every day because there's nothing else to do. And it was like the Japanese like TV shows, and I was like, whoa. And that was kind of like my first insight into like Chinese history with Japan, because I didn't know any of that before I moved here.
Yeah, that was during World War II.
Yeah.
Japanese invade China.
Yeah. And now that I know all that history, like, it's really actually changed my perception of China, but I think that's like another topic for another podcast. Yeah. There was actually one time where I called the British Embassy and I tried to get them to come and rescue me, do you remember? Because so many people were getting airlifted out of Wuhan and evacuated to England and put in like quarantine facilities. And like I said, we were not far from Wuhan, were we? But I called the embassy and they were like, where are you? And I told them and they were like, good luck. I was like, wow, I'm being abandoned by my country here. I'm literally asking my embassy to come and help me. Yeah. But then I was like,
they couldn't do
sorry.
Too far.
Yeah, you're not actually in Wuhan, so we can't help you. And it's like, what? And do you remember we went to the train station?
Yeah.
Tell them.
That every entrance exit was
on
locked.
The streets.
Yeah, on the street.
Yeah.
Everywhere locks down. You can't see no one on the street.
It was like a zombie apocalypse. Like, they put the steel like plates, didn't they?
Yeah.
On the roads to block the roads and
block the gates.
I don't know why we thought the train station would be open. But it was quite an intense journey. But I think because we made it out of that, such hardship in the beginning, I think we knew that we could make this relationship work. If we can get through that, we could get through anything, kind of thing.
Yeah, we always say if during the quarantine time we've been together for 4 months, 24 hours
24 hours
day,
a day. Yeah.
and we didn't kill each other.
Yeah. We survived.
So the relationship can last.
Yeah, actually, before we moved to Wuhan, your mom had wanted to speak to you. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them, what did she say to you?
Because one day my mom asked me and Dee to get into her bedroom and said, "Oh, you guys can get married." And you guys can get married. I'm gonna buy you a car, buy your house.
Yeah. And what did you say to her?
I said, that's too fast.
Yeah, we've only been together, we've barely been dating for like 6 months. But they accepted me, they knew that they could accept me in the family by that point. So your mom was like, okay, what's the problem? Like, you guys get along. It's time to get married, obviously. But yeah, you told her it was too fast and we didn't get married until we were together a year later. Yeah.
2021.
Yeah, so we basically like lived together though from when we first began dating. So I think that's quite an intense way to start a relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Then after 4 months, we moved back to Wuhan and to continue my master to finish my thesis, and we continued to stay together because I couldn't get into my university.
Yeah, you couldn't get into your dormitory, could you?
No.
Because of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very strict.
So we lived together from then.
Yeah.
You moved into my apartment in Wuhan, and then we decided that we wanted a bit of a change of scenery. I think we were both kind of scarred from living in Wuhan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
After I graduate, we moved to Shenzhen.
we lived there for almost 5 years. Yeah, we lived in Shenzhen for almost 5 years, and then we had our baby. His name's Jin. I gave birth to him in Shenzhen. Again, I think that's kind of a topic for a whole podcast by itself, because I would like to discuss what it's like for the prenatal and postnatal care living in China. But again, I think that's its own episode. And now, after we had the baby, my husband wanted to be closer to his family, which is understandable. So we are now living in his family's home in rural China. So we're obviously not from the same place. Again, I'm English, you're Chinese. We have a lot of differences in our cultural differences and in the way that we look at the world, in the way that we view our families, in the way that we view conflict. So I think it would be interesting to ask each other some questions about how we feel about this topic, like cultural differences in our relationship and how it's affected how we work together. And yeah, so I'll begin. So okay. I think we can ask like 2 questions each. What do you think? Okay. So my first question to you is, what do you think is the biggest cultural difference that affects our relationship?
I think it's the food.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, when we live in my hometown for the quarantine time, she has to eat the Chinese food all the time. She has no other option, so it's very suffering for her. When we moved to Shenzhen, the Shenzhen is quite an international city, and there's many food options. They have English food, Indian food, or Thai food, Italian food. So in the weekend, we just go to different Western food restaurants. Then I started suffering because my stomach can't get used to the Western food all the time. Mm. So we start to eat separately.
Yeah.
I cook my own Chinese food. She cook her English food, so we just eat separately. Sometimes we are not getting hungry at the same time, so we just eat.
We eat separately a lot. Even now, we eat separately a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny that your answer is food. I knew it would be food. Bruce's hierarchy of need, food is just the top of everything. But yeah, it is quite interesting that we do sometimes sit together and eat.
Yeah.
But it's very rarely, because we just, I crave like much plainer foods. If I eat Chinese food for too long, I start to get spots as well, because like I think it's very oily, and like they use a lot of like salt and sodium, and it can be a lot for me if I eat it for too long. Like my stomach just can't accept it. And if you eat like plain Western food too much, then you can't accept it.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that we do eat separately. Would you prefer it if we ate together, or you don't mind?
I don't mind.
I don't mind either, actually. It's okay,
But when someone else, like my family member, we eat separately.
They're obsessed with what I eat.
They're like, wow, but your family is supposed to eat together.
That's very Chinese style, though, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Like, eat together at every meal.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
I understand it. It's a nice family time. Like, you can eat meal together and talk.
Well, it's different, though, isn't it? Because in China, you have many dishes on the table to share.
Yeah.
But in England, you have one plate for yourself most of the time.
Yeah.
So there is that cultural difference there. But we don't care. We're okay with it.
Yeah.
And like if it's a special occasion or something, then we will go out to a restaurant and eat together or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point. For me, I think the biggest cultural difference that affects our relationship is and has been how we deal with conflict. So I don't know, I think it is quite cultural for like English people, but maybe it's just a man and a woman difference as well. But for Westerners to kind of like want to talk in depth about problems, whereas I feel like it's a very Chinese thing to kind of not really discuss things and kind of just wait for it to blow over. Like I told you about the stereotype of Chinese parents, if they want to apologize, they'll just give you a plate of cut up fruit. What do you think?
I think it also mixed with personalities.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Cultural difference.
Yeah.
In China, we're not easy to show our heart by telling you how I feel.
Yeah.
That's normal in Chinese family.
Why is that? Why it's kind of looked down to show too much emotion, right?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because in Chinese culture, we believe that it's a good personality if you can hold your feelings in and continue life. It's a symbol of strong. If you're a strong person, you'll hold your feeling and continue life.
Maybe it's like the male expectations as well. But
Yeah. Chinese family is not easy to say love or say their feelings to their family members.
Yeah, like you don't.
And we never cuddle. We barely cuddle.
Yeah.
We never say love to each other. We just show in our action.
That's what I mean. Yeah, definitely. So in China, you show your love and affection through actions, through doing things for someone.
Yeah.
And like, that's a big cultural difference.
Look after you well.
Yeah, feed you, give
you money.
Yeah.
Buy you clothes.
Yeah.
That's the Chinese way to show love.
Yeah, I think that's quite interesting actually, that in England you kind of express it through your words, but in China you express it through your actions. I think that's quite interesting. Okay, what's your first question for me?
What moment that you decide you want to continue our relationship?
I think actually it was being in with your family and seeing how you were with your family. I think like seeing how much you really appreciate and adore family is like such a big aspect of why I wanted to start a family with you, because it is genuinely like your high priority is family. And a lot of people say it like, oh, my family's my everything, blah blah blah, but they don't mean it, and like they don't act that way. But with you, seeing how you were and how much you love your family, it made me appreciate who you were. And obviously being together for those 4 months, I saw every part of you, the good parts, the bad parts, the annoying parts. Like we couldn't escape each other. And there was a point where I think we both doubted if we did want to continue the relationship. But then I think when I thought about actually leaving the relationship, I was like, I don't want to do that. Something's telling me that I should stay in this relationship and we should try. Yeah.
So my moments that you gave me very high 情绪价值 in Chinese. English is emotional value. Is there any English words for that?
Just explain it.
Okay, just, feel like you gave me lots of supportive and happiness. Make me feel very happy by doing things for me and saying the loving words. That just made me feel happy and supportive. Especially when I was working on my thesis before I graduate. I worked really hard, but it didn't go really well. But you were really supportive, want to take me to work, make me feel happy, take me to a very nice dinner. We dressed up. You dressed very beautiful, and we drank wine, ate beef steak. That was the best.
Food again.
that was the best beef steak I ever ate.
That was good steak.
Yeah,
that was good steak.
And just you support me emotionally.
Yeah.
Make me stronger. I just love that.
So that we actually just answered how we're different then. So I just answered like the Chinese difference of you looking after your family through actions, and that's why I wanted to be with you.
Yeah.
And you just answered that I was verbally supportive.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Breakthrough. Yeah, that's interesting that those differences are actually what made us want to be together overall.
Yeah.
I think that is quite interesting actually. Okay.
What's the second question?
The last question is... Okay, you say your second question first.
Okay, my second question is, well, what's the most unexpected way that we just click?
What's the most unexpected way that we click?
Yeah.
What? I don't know how... What do you mean?
I mean, the moment you feel we're just very matching. We click.
Click.
Yeah, we have a same opinion or work well together on something.
I think that we both have very good humour. I think that we can laugh at things a lot.
Yeah.
And we laugh like all the time, and I find you funny and you find me funny, and I think it's quite rare to like match someone's humour like that.
Yeah.
I think that even if we have an argument, we can kind of laugh about it later, and I think that's the most important.
Yeah.
And I think that humour.
Yeah, we both like being sarcasm.
Well, I feel like you've learned to be more sarcastic. I feel like you didn't really get it in the beginning, right? I feel like
all the time. My dad was like that.
Oh, because I thought you didn't get it in the beginning. Because I thought it was like a very British thing. Because you're very sarcastic, like you're very British sarcastic. Do you know what I mean? Like dry humor, like sarcasm.
Yeah.
So I thought that had come from being with me, but I think you just had it all along anyway.
Like the other day, one of my relatives cooked very salty.
Oh my
vegetable.
God! When I'm talking salty, it is salty.
It's like pure salt.
Like literally, he's put so much salt in it.
The next day, he cooked it again. then Dee said, "Come on, go enjoy your favorite vegetable." Then I would say, "Yes, I love that."
Yeah, so that's what I think. What do you think made us click?
I think we're maybe it's personality match very well, because you are like making plans all the time. But
I'm type A, he's type B.
Yeah. You're making plans. Tomorrow what do we do? Next year what do we do? Next 10 years what do we do? Make very far plans.
Yeah.
But me just very chill back, lay back.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
always
Type
tell
B.
you just enjoy the moment. Just
Yeah. So you make me more grounded, but I make you more organized.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, if you were type A and you wanted to plan things as well, like I always complain that he doesn't plan things because it annoys me. But then actually, if he did plan something, I probably wouldn't accept it anyway. Okay, sorry about that. We had to go and sort our baby up, and so we had to pause. Okay, let's go on to the final question. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's my question. So we obviously have a baby. We have a almost 6 month old baby boy, and I want to ask you, what part of each culture do you want him to take throughout life?
I want him to be outgoing and very happy.
Of course. I think everyone wants that for their baby.
In Chinese culture, like my personality is very introvert.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm there to tell my parents, my family, how I feel about something.
Sometimes you what? You dare?
I don't dare
Oh.
to tell my parents how I feel about something.
Mm.
And like in a specific thing, like if I break a plate, a glass, I would be very, very scared, because I'm scared they're gonna tell me off and punish me. So I grew up in that way. Whenever I did like something wrong or not good thing, I don't want them to know. I will hide. I remember when I was in junior school, I fell over. Not junior school, in a primary school. I fell over on the floor. I hit my back of my head. It bleed. I had the open cut.
Oh my god, that's quite serious actually.
Yeah, I went home.
Could probably get concussion.
I went home. I couldn't dare to tell my family.
Why?
I'm scared that they're gonna tell me off. Say, oh, why don't you look after your well? Gonna blame me. Then I just stand against the wall so they can't see my cut and my forehead until the next morning. My grandma sent me to school, and my grandma saw the cut.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I took me to the pharmacy to give me a rub to clean my cut.
That makes me quite upset.
Yeah, so I want the baby to be confident, to be happy to tell us what he's thinking, even if it's bad.
Yeah,
I still
I
wanna know.
agree. Yeah, that it's okay to make a mistake. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. That if he breaks a plate, you know, as long as he's not purposefully like throwing a plate, you know, into the glass or something, then it's okay. Just clean it up, sort it out.
And we won't blame him.
No, of course.
By mistakes.
Do you think that's a cultural problem? Or
It's a very common thing in China.
yeah.
Many kids are like me. Many, even they're adults now, they still have that feeling.
Why? Why do you think like 90s parents in China were like that?
Because my parents, their generation or their parents, they're living in very bad condition. They didn't have enough sources.
Like famine and
Yeah.
no food.
Yeah, they've been through famine, no food.
Yeah.
Everything is precious for them. Even now they have enough money.
But they still get stressed.
Yeah, still get stressed.
I suppose when you've been through such hardships, it's going to stay with you forever. Yeah.
Like if I broke my leg, I'm gonna think, oh,
Cost
you're gonna
money.
cost some money.
You-
My parents gonna
Yeah.
spend lots of money on me.
You're still kind of like
They're
that
gonna
now,
blame
though.
me.
Like, I feel like if you are sick, you wouldn't really go to the hospital unless it's like really, really, really severe.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to waste money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very much.
Yeah.
I
Even
think
now,
that
many families still doing that.
Of course,
If it's
yeah.
small thing, they don't wanna go to hospital.
Money is a very important part of Chinese
Yeah.
culture, though.
They just wanna go to a little pharmacy, get some pills, cheap pills,
Yeah,
to fix
yeah.
the problem.
So, do you think that your parents were like that because of the value, like the money part of it? You think your parents were stressed, so
Yeah.
they would take it out on you if you broke something, for example?
Yeah. Or just blame my clumsy.
I'm very clumsy, so that would have got told off a lot. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. But so, which part of culture, like my culture or your culture, do you want to take with him instead of not want him to do? Do you know what I mean? So, like you're saying, you don't want to take that part of your culture into raising him. What part of your culture or my culture do you want him to take?
I want him to be more aggressive.
Aggressive?
Yeah, aggressive.
What? Why?
Because in China, we were told in school, told in family that you can't make trouble. I would say you have to control yourself, control your feeling.
Do you mean like more
Bold.
emotive rather than aggressive? Like more showing emotion rather than being aggressive? Because I feel like being aggressive could be almost negative, like violent.
Not violent.
Just just like
bold.
Bold. Yeah.
Yeah, bold.
Okay, got you.
The school, the family, the society trying to control you, so make you work.
Not stand out in the crowd too much,
not
right?
stand out.
Yeah.
You can never stand out.
Yeah.
I think in the society now, I want him to be brave, to show himself.
Yeah.
Himself, real him.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he's happy, he can show he's happy. If he's angry, he can show he's angry. But in China, if you're angry, sometimes you're not able to show it.
Yeah, I understand. I think that's great. I agree with that. Mine would be, I want him to care about family, like Chinese family values. I really want that for him because I feel like in England, like once you become an adult, you become your own entity, you know? Like you leave home and then you start your own family and then that's your core family, you know? Like our family is my core family.
Yeah.
And my family, my mom and my stepdad and my sister, they're extended family. But after being with your family, it's just like the whole family unit is family. And you don't need to really ask someone, or if you do ask someone for something, it's instantly yes. It's never no.
Yeah.
And everyone helps each other. And I feel like we don't have that aspect in England at the moment. Like we don't have that. We care about each other, we love each other, we still would do anything for each other, but I just feel that there isn't that kind of family values as extreme as Chinese people have. Do you know?
Yeah. I think that's big culture difference.
Yeah.
Differences. Because I feel like English family, you are more like financial individual.
everything's more individual.
Yeah, everything's more
Yeah.
individual. When you grow up, you just start your own family.
Yeah. My parents' money is their money.
Yeah.
My money is my
your
money.
Your money.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
A big difference. Like, obviously, if I ever needed anything, my parents would help me.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, they've brought us a lot of stuff for the baby. And, like, if we were ever in any, like, financial problems, like, they would absolutely do everything that they could.
Yeah.
But I don't expect it. Do you know what I mean? And they definitely don't expect my money.
Yeah.
Whereas your family, because I think it's different systems, though, like, the pension in England is better than China. It's not great, but it's better. And, like, the social services in England are a lot better, like free healthcare and stuff like that. Whereas in China, you have to pay for healthcare. So I think there is a dependence on the younger generation from the older generation. And that it's still something that I'm not used to. Like, you know that. It's something that I'm getting used to, but maybe I can't accept it because I'm just not used to it. Like, if your family needed money, of course I would try and help them, but I don't want them to expect it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that's a big cultural difference. But, like, for example, my mom charges my sister rent, and to your family that is just absolutely unheard of. Like, that would never happen.
Yeah.
But a lot of Western families do that because they want to teach their children also, you don't get a free ride, you know? Like, once you reach an age where you're working, you should start to be financially responsible. And if you're still, like, living at home, then you should contribute because it's also very expensive to live in England. Like, it's much more expensive than...
But if your family have enough money, would you people still do that?
I think it depends on what their values are. I think, like, people, like I said, it comes down to wanting... It's not wanting to take something from the child. It's wanting to teach them financial responsibility. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But saying that, I don't think that I would charge Jin rent. I wouldn't charge our child rent because I've seen another perspective, like the Chinese side, you know?
Yeah.
And I think there's negatives that come with that, though. Like, we don't really get a lot of time to ourselves at the moment because we live with your father and your family members come round all the time. And that is a lot for me to get used to. In England, you have to plan it and you have to be like, oh, you know, I'm going to come round at this time on this day. But your family just turn up whenever and wherever.
We only do that to not very close friend.
It's just cultural difference. It's cultural difference. Like, I'm going to come this time, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, you don't want to intrude on someone's space. But personal space doesn't exist in China. So
No.
Especially with family.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something...
If you live close to your Chinese family, they just can't get in.
Yeah.
The door is always open.
Yeah. They just turn up.
Yeah.
They just turn up. And I get stressed.
For lunch.
Yeah. But we've done that before, though. We've, like, been hungry and we'd be like, oh, I just don't want to cook. And then we went to Audi Cousins.
Yeah.
Went to Jantan's.
Yeah.
Because we're like, they'll cook for us. So, yeah, you can do it. But actually, that is something that I need to get used to because that's quite a difficult thing for me to accept. And maybe, again, I will never accept it. It's a lot of contradiction going on.
Yeah. Like my parents bring me up, so in the future when they're old, I have the duty to look after them.
Yeah.
They help us to look after Jane.
Yeah.
They also expect when they're older we can look after them.
Yeah.
So it's like that's how it works.
It's like
in
a
China.
transaction.
Yeah.
I've brought you up. I've helped you in your life.
Yeah.
But whereas, like, in England, you don't expect anything from the child.
Because you have the free house care.
Yeah. But also, you kind of, like, you nurture them and you help them grow up, and then it's kind of there on their own. Do you know what I mean? So it's there's positives and negatives for both. Yeah, for both, I think.
So you have your own right, your own you can make your own decision to have baby or not. So everyone respect that in England, but in China,
oh my god, yeah.
the
Lots of
older
pressure.
generation just put pressure on
Yeah,
you
yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
If you don't get married, they're gonna talk
Yeah.
to you every day. Every family member gonna talk to you, have a meeting
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. That's a problem that I can't accept as well, is that Chinese families think that it's okay to tell you how to live your life,
Yeah.
you know, whereas my family don't do that anyway. My mom's always been very kind of like, you do you, whatever you want to do as long as you're happy. But in China, like, even when it's like looking after Jin and stuff like that, like, I've had a conflict with your cousin a lot because she's trying to show that she's caring, but she's doing it in a way that's like basically trying to tell me how to live my life.
Yeah.
And so we've butted heads a lot with that. So I think there's pros and there's cons for both, you know, like both society. Like, I don't want to charge Jin rent, but also I don't want him being like a 40-year-old who hasn't gone out, who's relying on his parents and who hasn't tried to go out in the world by himself.
Yeah.
But he also will always have like a safe place to come to.
Yeah.
But when he's an adult, I do expect that he goes and lives his own independent life, you know.
Yeah. One of my family members, she cares about money too much, and she wanna. Yeah.
Speak a little bit louder.
She wanna charge her daughter's baby for parenting, for babysitting.
Okay.
And that is ridiculous
In Chinese culture.
Chinese culture.
Yeah.
But how can you charge your daughter money to look after, to help them to look after the baby, the grandbaby?
Yeah.
That's your grandchildren. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't charge money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the future, maybe when she's older,
her daughter won't look after, or she'll charge her money.
yeah.
She's like, yeah, mom, I'll look after you. But that's another point of England. A lot of old people are really lonely, like really lonely. Like, people in China, there's lots of groups and there's lots of like, the old people just go out and hang out with each other on the street because the weather's good most of the time and stuff like that. Or they have their family who's come to look after them because, like you said, it's kind of like expected.
My dad, my aunties,
never alone. Like, they're
they
always
visit her every day.
Yeah.
And give her food.
Yeah.
And talk to her.
Yeah.
She's never lonely.
Never lonely. Actually, your grandma would prefer to be by herself more.
Yeah. Can't be bothered.
She can't be bothered to be with people all the time, which is quite funny that when she said that to us. But a lot of older people in England are just by themselves in the house and they're just lonely. And I think we could take a little bit of how China treats their older generation.
Yeah.
Because loneliness is a really big epidemic in England, I feel, for the older generation. Okay, should we wrap it up there? So that is the end of our first ever episode of Tea and
Tofu.
Yeah. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions for us, you can leave them in the comments below. Do you have any idea what our next episode is going to be? Should we do the Cultural Revolution? He's a bit nervous to do it.
Sensitive.
Okay.
I'm scared that we got famous.
Don't say you got famous.
Okay. I'm scared some Chinese people found it on the internet that I'm saying a negative thing. I'm gonna get cancelled. Okay, well, we'll figure out a way to tell the story because I feel like that story needs to be told, and a lot of people are interested. So, okay. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Thank you. Bye.